I want to show you guys a quick test you can do on your glow plugs without hooking a scanner up. If you can get yourselves a hold of a inductive ammeter. Explain to you the difference between Ford glow plugs, Ford glow plug relays, and Autolite glow plugs and an aftermarket relay. You really want to use the Ford glow plug relay or the Ford glow plugs, or you can buy that, I can't even remember what they call it. I'm sure you guys know that deal with these all the time with these glow plugs, but I usually just stick the Ford ones in there. But get yourself an inductive ammeter with a clamp. You'll have an arrow on there. That's for current flow. One thing you'll figure out on this, okay, so this is your intake air heater relay. It goes into your intake heater. This is your glow plug relay. This is your power coming in. This is power going out to your glow plugs. You got two small leads. One small lead is going to be ignition. When you turn the key on, it'll be hot. Now, if the conditions are right and it's cold, first start in the morning, what happens is the powertrain control module grounds the other small lead. Don't put power to that small lead or you'll fry your PCM. I can't warn you enough. It only takes just one little shot and it's done. So what you want to do is take your inductive ammeter like this, put it on amps. See the straight line for DC amps, the little wavy lines AC amps. Go to DC amps. This is a Milwaukee tool. I think I paid like 50 something bucks for this thing. Arrow's pointing that way. Current flow is going towards those. As you can see right there, we've got 0.002 amp draw. Nothing really. So let's turn the key on. And if you know if your glow plugs are working reasonably well, I put 4 glow plugs in this thing about a year ago, and it's got a no start problem, but I'm pretty certain it's injector problems. But turn your key on, run out here and look. It started out at 150 amps, and that's really good, really good. The colder it is, the more amps they're going to put out. Most of this is probably because the batteries are weak too in this thing. I got the jumper cable on it too, but you should see about 100, anywhere from 120 to 150 amps when you first turn the key on. And I'll tell you a little difference between those and Autolites. I put a brand new set of Autolite glow plugs in because that's what the customer wanted, and I took my ammeter on that one. I mean, brand new glow plug relay, aftermarket glow plug relay, brand new Autolite glow plugs. All I could get out is 86 amps. And what that means, if you don't know what amperage is, the less amperage, the less heat. The more amperage, the more heat. And so you want the higher amperage is what you want. And it started out at like 86 with those Autolites, and it went clear down to like 60 something amps. I mean, it was terrible. And it still didn't want to start right. I went and got a set of Ford glow plugs. I told him I would buy them just to prove to him how much better they were, and the thing fired right up. So, just a little information there. Now I wanted to show you a injector buzz test, because there's nothing wrong with his glow plugs. Another thing I wanted to explain to you guys on glow plugs, if it's really cold outside in the morning, that glow plug relay, the PCM, after the wait to start light goes off, the PCM keeps that relay grounded for 2 minutes. So your glow plugs are on for 2 minutes. And the intake heater usually doesn't start cycling until it warms up. The intake heater is basically an emissions device to keep them from smoking when they're idling. But, so if it's really cold outside, what I do, if it's like 0 degrees, I'll turn my key on, I'll go back in the house, fill my coffee cup up, you know, a minute and a half later, and I'll come out and I'll start it right up. It just lets that heat dwell up inside the cylinder, and just they fire up easier. And another thing you can really do in cold weather with these power strokes with the 7.3s and the 6 liters, I run 10W30 or 530 in them in the wintertime, since they're a Hewitt engine and they run off high pressure oil. Everything turns over faster, it's quicker. That's just another thing I've learned over the years of these things. But here, let's do an injector buzz test. And I tried to do an automatic VIN read and it didn't want to do it, so we'll go to escape, I'm going to do manual selection. I'm going to go to Ford. Let's go to Super Duty. F. Should be an F Series Super Duty. 7.3. This is a 2000. Yes. And a lot of guys, if you read the directions on an injector buzz test, it always tells you to do them when the engine's warm. Well, when the engine's warm, they don't have problems starting when they're warm. They have problems starting when they're cold. And that's why I do a buzz test when the engine is cold. There's an intensifier piston in there, and what happens is the intensifier pistons get worn down enough to where the armature and all there's a tolerance there between the armature plate and I can't remember the other part in there, but it loses its tolerance. Control unit, let's go to PCM. Come on. We want to go to read codes and then do a key on. Let's see, where's it at? Key on, engine off, injector electrical self-test. And see, it tells you here to do it warmed up, and we're not going to do that. I want you to do not activate switch. Okay, yeah, parking control, whatever. It's doing it right now. These things are really, really bad. I mean, they're not clattering hardly at all. But it'll rattle all 8 of them at the first go around, and it'll go through them in numerical sequence 1 through 8. And remember, on a power stroke, this is not like a Ford. On a gas motor, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 on your right bank, which would be your passenger side, and on your left bank, which would be your driver's side, it'd be, 5, 6, 7, 8. Basically, this is an international lineage. It's going to be 1. Let's see here, 1, 3, 5, 7 on the right side, passenger side, and on the driver's side is 2, 4, 6, 8. So let's do that injector buzz test again. This thing's terrible. I don't think I heard one crisp one in the whole bunch. Oh, these things are really bad. I mean, you can barely hear them. There's one. One of them was okay. I think it was like number 4. Number 4 was not too bad. But when they sound like that, once we get these injectors built, I'll do a buzz test and you'll really hear what a buzz test is supposed to sound like. Okay, something else I wanted to add to this video here was that another way to test these glow plugs on this thing without pulling the valve cover is, see you got 2 big pins here on each end. Those are your glow plug terminals. Providing that the wiring all here is all good. I've seen some of these get melted or come undone. Usually when they come undone, you'll have a hard, rough running engine, not only a hard start problem, but a rough running one. But this is basically concerned with, a glow plug issue where it's hard starting. Provided also that you don't have, intensifier pistons in your injector sticking with high mileage because the clearance is gone there. But anyway, what you can do is take your test light, hook the alligator clip to the positive terminal of the battery, and then touch these. Unplug this, the end on the external side, and touch the big pins with your test light. And if that test light lights up, then that glow plug is getting continuity to ground. Or if you got a power probe, it'll actually turn green. The little green light will light up on your power probe as is getting continuity through ground. But that's one way you can do that. Remember, the test light alligator clip gets hooked onto the positive post of the battery, not the negative terminal. And that'll make that test light light up. And another way, if you want to pull the valve cover, just do the same thing. Just unplug these. Just unplug them and just touch them with the test light. And if they light up, they're good. And if they don't, they're bad. They're burnt out. And these are just ways you can do it without having, if you don't have a scanner. If you don't have a damn scanner or an ohm meter, and just a simple test light is the simple. I have a scanner and all that stuff, and I'll usually do a scan on them and check them and all that. And if it says a couple of them, I always take my test light and I check them anyway. So But that's another simple way to do that. These aren't near as prone to failure, these wiring harnesses on these later body style 7.3s, as the early ones that had the 2 plugs out here. Those 2 plugs, those older ones, were always melting wiring harnesses and just screw up all the time. But well, just hopefully that was a little bit of information for you guys to make things a little bit easier to test those. So thanks for watching.